Laughlin, Nevada, one of the top 3 resort destinations in Nevada, and one of the top 5 in the country for RV enthusiasts. Named after Don Laughlin, who began developing the riverside town in 1964, the city receives over 2 million visitors a year because of its family-friendly atmosphere, beautiful riverside attractions, gambling, entertainment, and proximity to the mighty Colorado River. Nestled in the nearby hills in this riverside gem is a race course that for over 30 years has challenged some of America's greatest off-road racers. A sidewinding network of sandy trails, rough gravel roads, and brutal rocky washes. This battlefield has become the proving grounds for America's fastest-growing off-road race class, professional UTV racing. And for the second year, over 200 of the best UTV racers on the planet have gathered to compete for fame, glory, and over $100,000 in cash and prizes. To claim victory, they must rocket off the start line and survive a dangerous land rush start. Then, go door to door for multiple laps on an unforgiving desert race course. Their planning and pit strategy must be perfect. Their driving must be exceptional and fearless. They must put it all on the line and execute a perfect race. This is the ultimate chance to be crowned a world champion. This is the 2016 Polaris RZR UTV World Championship, powered by Monster Energy. Over the past decade, the UTV has evolved from a humble hay hauler into one of the most advanced and capable off-road machines available to motorsports enthusiasts. What was developed initially as a small service vehicle has given rise to the powerful sport UTV, and it's these machines that have been adopted by the off-road racing community all over the world. Here in the United States, there are now multiple styles of UTV competition, ranging from rock crawling at King of the Hammers, to mud bogging at Mud Nationals, to the short course style racing at Works and Lours. One of the most popular and challenging is the long distance desert style racing in the Best in the Desert series. The UTV industry has experienced explosive growth in the past decade. The Polaris RZR line are a fast and sleek sport model category of high-performance vehicles that have become the go-to platform for UTV racing since their release. The UTV World Championship was the brainchild of UTV Underground founder Joey DiGiovanni and the Martelli Brothers, who own and operate Mad Media. It was developed in 2014 after spending nearly a decade documenting the growth of the UTV racing industry. By creating a unique standalone World Championship event, the Martelli Brothers and Joey D knew they could attract the best drivers and teams from around the planet and create a rallying point for the entire UTV industry. The team devised 3 unique championship races, including a professional desert championship race that catered to the longer open desert style of racing, a professional short course championship race, and a race dedicated to the youth in the sport, a production short course race for the kids. What came to fruition in 2015 was much more than just a new UTV championship race. The inaugural UTV World Championship was a massive 4-day off-road festival that featured a huge gathering of the industry's premier manufacturers, parts makers, and professional athletes, all ready to make their mark on a worldwide stage. The UTV World Championship features 2 distinct styles of professional UTV racing, desert and production short course. Both styles rely on professionally modified UTVs to withstand the rigors of off-road racing, but they all begin the same way, as a standard off-the-floor UTV. The stock machines are taken and their roll cages are replaced with reinforced race cages that feature extra support. The doors are replaced with panels, and the seats and fuel cells are replaced with race-ready components. The UTV World Championship race course is part of an historic system of OHV trails that zigzag along the southwestern base of Spirit Mountain, just west of the town of Laughlin and the majestic Colorado River. These trails have been used by off-road racers for over 3 decades and feature some incredibly challenging terrain. The course was designed by Best in the Desert owner and off-road guru Casey Folks. Casey has been promoting American off-road racing for nearly 50 years. For the Walker Evans Desert Championship, the field was set to battle for 10 treacherous laps, for a total of 160 miles of hell. For the Holes Racing Products Production Championship, the racers would compete 4 of the brutal 16-mile laps. Saturday, 9:30 a.m. The stacked field of professional UTV racers began to line up and prepare for war. For the second year in a row, Walker Evans Racing sponsored the Desert Championship race. And for the second year in a row, there was a new record turnout. 87 of the world's best desert UTV racers sat in staging, waiting nervously.
There's going to be 10 cars on front row. I got first pick from Wyndham Parker. It's going to be a whole fleet behind me, probably 50 cars. Definitely got a target on our back being in front row, but we're going to try and hit a hole shot and just check out.
I've done a few land rush starts in my past, but this is by far the biggest.
The UTV World Championship features a dead-engine land rush start, which means each racer must start their race car and rocket off the start line without missing a beat.
Are you going to do the key? Or
yes, I got the key.
Okay.
You just worry about the start button driving.
Okay.
Let's get it.
The seconds ticked down. Casey Folks dropped the green flag. They were off. Dustin Jones and the number 978 Can-Am Maverick took the hole shot, followed closely by Justin Lambert, Brandon Sims, and Mitch Guthrie Jr. Moments later, the second pack of racers took off. Corey Sappington and Connor Boland made contact, forcing Corey off the course momentarily. Tyler Greaves stayed up in the mix. Jacob Carver and Jacob Shaw came screaming through turn 1. Row 3 left the start line next. 1908 Dwight Pollard locked up his brakes and ended up tumbling down the start line. He would return to the race minutes later. It was Keith Hughes who made it to the pole first, followed by a hungry pack that included Reese Millen, Chad Ragland, and Kristen Matlock, all of whom are seasoned racers. The 4th, 5th, and 6th rows left the start line 1 minute apart, turning the infield into a dusty war zone. It was now up to each racer to run as fast as possible while preserving their equipment. After missing the hole shot, Brandon Sims stayed right on the heels of Jones and Lambert. And once they hit the open desert sections past race mile 2, he passed them both and took the lead overall. Meanwhile, Mitch Guthrie Jr. caught up to Justin Lambert, who was heading out into the desert, but Guthrie couldn't quite make the pass on him.
Let me know it's coming up.
Okay.
Lambert pulled away as they approached the Super ATV Proving Grounds. By midway through lap 1, it was clear the pace for the race was going to be incredibly fast. The teams knew the margin for error was razor thin, and they pushed hard early on to make headway on the field. The 919 Jagged X RZR of Brandon Schuler was pushing hard behind Guthrie coming into the final stretch of the first lap.
Everybody is pushing hard, Mitchie. Just let you know, everybody's pushing hard.
Schuler was just seconds behind Guthrie.
Jagged X is about 10 seconds behind.
At the end of lap 1, it was Brandon Sims in first, followed by Dustin Jones.
Don't air it out till we know how bad it's gotten.
Then Justin Lambert, Mitch Guthrie Jr., and Brandon Schuler. Each was within seconds of the other. Jacob Shaw is no stranger to UTV competition. He's been racing professionally for over 5 years. 2016 marks his first year as a desert racer, and this year he's hoping to defend his championship title for his new sponsor.
I've raced motocross since I was 4 years old until I was 16 or so, and then I got into football in high school. After that, I wanted to get back into racing, and I saw the UTVs were an upcoming thing, and it was, affordable, so we went out and bought a RZR and just started going after it. Pretty awesome to be able to win the first ever UTV World Championship race, and on top of it to get a brand new Polaris. It was awesome. Everyone wants to be a winner, I feel like I got a big target on my back. No one can really take it from you that you've won the first UTV World Championship race. I'm racing in the Pro Turbo Production class, and my car is built by RCG, and it's a fun class and competitive class. I choose to race with the Polaris platform because I think it's the best platform out there for racing. I prep it out of my own garage with my family. It's a family-oriented racing team, I prepared for the UTV World Championship by just testing and putting the car to its most potential it could be and try to get the car on the podium. I think a lot of people are attracted to the UTVs because it's the most affordable, and anyone can go out and buy one and put a cage on it and a little work into it, and you can go out and have some fun and race. So my strategy this race is just, keep the car together and make it to the finish line. You got to finish before you can win. Having a chance to win a RZR could be huge for a little guy on the total pole. Definitely can make your race program go to the next level. I think desert racing is, the next biggest thing. The factory backing is just huge. Polaris steps up, everyone steps up tremendously for desert racing. RCG, I met him at the top of Oldsmobile Hill in Glamis. It was a time crunch at that point. We only had a few weeks to build a car, and they came up to me and offered me full ride, full built car, and next day I dropped it off at their shop, and 2 weeks later we had a car. Can't thank them enough. So this year we're going to be pulling double duty. We're going to go out and give it hell and then come out and try to defend our title in the short course race.
Lap 1 of the Walker Evans Desert Championship is in the books, and the 87 UTVs that left the start line have already been cut to 81. Those on course have turned the Laughlin Desert into a dusty war zone as they race into lap number 2 of 10. Brandon Sims, who passed Dustin Jones and Justin Lambert to take the lead early on, suddenly pulled over with a mechanical issue at the start of lap 2.
Uncle Brandon, he's slowing down. Yeah. He stopped. Good, don't kill yourself.
He relinquished the lead back to Jones, followed closely by Lambert and Mitch Guthrie Jr.
I like that. We're in third.
Get right.
Brandon Schuler stayed right on Guthrie in the 4th position.
We're going to make it to the finish. Brandon's car is doing great. Thank you. Almost in the pit.
The leaders came through race mile 2. Cody Raiders stayed right on Mark Burnett's bumper, looking for a pass. Reading the changing terrain while racing is key in desert off-road racing.
Right. Get right behind. Oh my God. Wrong line. Sorry. So good.
It falls on both the driver and co-driver to navigate the course and avoid obstacles that will damage the car. The most challenging section of the race course this year was the Super ATV Proving Grounds. This section of axle braking landscape was designed to test even the most fearless racers, causing some to slow down or take a more cautious approach.
Nice and easy. Go good. Nice and straight.
Valuable time was both lost and made up as the racers looked for the fastest line through the treacherous terrain. Up ahead at race mile 10, race leader Dustin Jones was flying across the rough desert, right on the edge.
They got that little G out. Yeah, I can't do that no more. We'll call lap car.
There's a fine line in racing between pushing for the win and pushing too hard on your equipment. Justin Lambert came soaring through after Jones. Johnny Angle, Brandon Sims, and Michael Caffro came through mere seconds apart. Meanwhile, newcomer Snake Livernash and his co-driver Chris Clearly hit a G-out at high speed, sending their race car tumbling down the course. In a display of great sportsmanship, John Cianci pulled over and ran back to make sure Livernash and Clearly were okay. Ryan Laidlaw made good time on lap 2, catching up to Burnett by race mile 12. Meanwhile, Baja 1000 champion Johnny Angle and Brandon Sims both had issues and had fallen off the mark. Johnny entered a left turn too fast and rolled his race car.
Gonna pit left at the top here.
It would be 11 minutes before Johnny and his co-driver Eric Ringler could right the vehicle and get back on the road. A devastating loss of time for the former champion. As the racers passed the hot pit and began lap 3, it remained Dustin Jones, Justin Lambert, and Mitch Guthrie Jr., followed closely by 6-time UTV champion Brandon Schuler.
All right, you guys are in third place. S3 and Cognito just in front of you.
Stop that.
The UTV World Championship is much more than just a single day of racing. It's 3 full days of off-road fun, and one of the highlights is Friday's Tech and Contingency.
The whole atmosphere here in the pits is amazing. I mean, you have vendors everywhere, people everywhere, racers, fans. This is unlike any event I've ever been to before.
The day before the race, all of the competitors bring their race vehicles to a central location and have them carefully inspected for safety. This is a fantastic opportunity for the public to see these incredible race machines up close and meet their favorite drivers.
Second year here, it's even bigger than it was the first year, which was the biggest UT event that I'd ever been to, probably that ever been created in the history of off-road racing. But it's the crowd's into it. Man, it continues, she's cranking. Tons of people here.
For the second year in a row, the who's who of the UTV industry showed up to the UTV World Championship contingency to support their racers, the event, and showcase their products to the crowd of thousands. This year's host hotel, the Colorado Bell Hotel and Casino, hosted the massive gathering, which includes hundreds of UTV industry companies and manufacturers right in front of their historic hotel on the Colorado River.
My favorite part of this event, I would have to say, is seeing the growth of UTV racing. I mean, we're in the heart of Laughlin, casinos in the background, over 200 entries of the best in the industry are all here, sponsor-wise and racing-wise. I mean, I would have to say that's my favorite part.
While the race teams registered their vehicles, signed autographs, and met with their fans, Polaris Industries led the effort as title sponsor and handed out tons of free goodies. Monster Energy, Walker Evans Racing, Holes Racing Products, and Super ATV were also there to greet their UTV enthusiasts. The official MC of the event, Tim Shellman, was on the mic greeting fans and interviewing all of the vendors.
it's insane to see how far UTV racing has come in such a short amount of time. And it's because it's a great family experience, man. You look around at the UTV World Championship and there's huge race teams and they bring their entire family. They've got the little kids racing 170s all the way up to their dads racing the turbo classes, and it offers something for everybody.
It was clear from the turnout at this year's UTV World Championship contingency that the entire industry had once again come to support this thriving sport.
I said it a year ago, this thing's growing, and I didn't know it would keep going like this. I believe there's 200 plus cars entered for tomorrow's race. It's phenomenal. It just shows you this sport is going to keep growing. Next year is going to be probably 300.
Thousands of off-road race fans and UTV enthusiasts left Friday evening excited to see more of what was in store and the epic battles that would soon unfold. As lap 3 of the 10-lap race began to play out, the race leaders continued to push each other at a blistering pace.
Carry your speed. Carry your speed. Carry your speed. You're going to have a hard ride right here, okay?
Dustin Jones led the pack and was looking for another major desert championship win.
Doing good, bro. Race your race, okay?
Justin Lambert remained in second overall, just outside the dust trail of Jones. Mitch Guthrie Jr., who with his father holds a record 6 King of the Hammers championship titles, sat in third. Brandon Schuler held down 4th place and was looking strong in his 3rd lap.
Just coming out of that turn.
The chase pack ground their way through the infield, waiting for the leaders to make a mistake. And 2015 UTV World Champion Brandon Sims was forced to pit. He gave up several positions. The chase pack ground their way through the infield and began to hit the open desert. Automotive legend Reese Millen was making up ground fast. Chad Ragland looked strong on lap 3. He was mixing it up in the top 20. And Scott Yancey came through hot on Chad's heels.
Right here.
Up ahead, the fresh air that the race leaders had enjoyed early on gave way to the challenges of passing lap traffic.
See him back there? Yeah. Okay. We got more of a gap on them than we had before when we come out of there.
The slower race cars who were down on time became obstacles on an already tough course. Wayne Matlock came screaming through race mile 11 and made passing look easy, followed by number 916 Cody Raiders, another young UTV prodigy in the making. Race leader Dustin Jones began to experience mechanical issues coming into the end of lap 3.
Get on going. Yeah, we got a flat. We do? Yeah. You serious? Yeah. Any guys, y'all got a copy? F3 Racing 978. Yeah, come on, James. We think we got a flat. Somebody needs to do a visual on our first pass by. Let us know. The tire looks good. The tire's not flat. Okay.
What felt like a flat tire would later be diagnosed as a broken axle.
Hey, done. First you call it. Yep, I know. It's flat, huh? Something is. Looks like the back right wasn't pulling. He might have an axle.
But he made a choice not to pit and instead maintained his lead heading out on lap 4. Andrew Gorman came past the hot pit and looked strong. He was running top 10 in his class. Michael Caffro came flying by after Gorman with a pack of racers on his heels. One of the unique features of the World Championship each year is the Family Fun Poker Run.
I can't wait to win this thing.
The Poker Run gives enthusiasts a chance to drive their personal UTVs on the race course and experience a little bit of what the racers go through on race day, but at a much slower and safer pace. This year, a massive pack of off-road fans lined up to take their turns zipping through the championship racecourse. To add some fun to the experience, Best in the Desert officials set up a series of checkpoints and handed out random poker chips. Over 150 UTV enthusiasts and their families participated. Giving UTV fans a chance to ride their own vehicles at the World Championship has been an ongoing effort for the event organizers.
Draw? How about you, young man? You want to hit that button?
There are hundreds of miles of OHV trails in the Laughlin and Bullhead area, and there are plans to expand these group rides in the coming years. It's the end of lap 3 at the Walker Evans Desert Championship race, and race leader Dustin Jones flew past the hot pit on his way to lap 4. Jones was experiencing a failing axle, but decided not to pull over to repair it.
Oh, Dustin, don't do that no more. I didn't mean to.
Dustin came flying off the Polaris arch jump, and while driving through 2 stopped vehicles on the course, clipped his right front tire and lost his power steering.
Sorry. Go. We just forward, we serious? I think so. No, power steering ain't working no more. Okay, that's fine. Just keep on going.
Minutes later, Justin Lambert made his move on the crippled S3 Power Sports team and passed Jones to take the lead.
It's bad? Yeah. Hey, get over here, right here to the right. To the right. To the right. It's coming back. It is? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The short course infield of the desert race was proving to be a key obstacle for many of the racers. The tight technical turns and jumps began to set apart the veteran desert drivers from the younger, less experienced racers. Choosing fast lines through the sandy turns was helping the lead packs stay out in front and making it tough for the chase pack to catch them.
I think we got a little way more than Chad did.
Yeah.
Lambert, Jones, and Guthrie remained within 30 seconds of each other coming out of the Super ATV Proving Grounds.
I think someone just came over the road. That's real fun. I'm not sure who it is. It might be Jack.
Did Guthrie catch him? I don't see him. Yeah, he's about 10 car lengths behind us already. Yeah.
Minutes later, the race leaders approached the hot pit at the end of lap 4.
That S3?
Take our time to get my head.
Dustin Jones radioed ahead to prepare his team for a fresh axle and new tire.
We need fuel and a rear right. Go ahead and put us a new tire on there too. Right rear and fuel. Yes, sir. We are ready to go. Ready for you. 10-4. Thank you. Easy left.
This is where I need it just to calm down and not be all crazy trying to get by him.
Easy left.
Save the belt.
Okay.
5 miles an hour. Okay. Stop. I'm up. Yeah, just letting you know. That's my job. Sure. There's going down, guys. Jones is going in.
Everything feel good, Curtis?
Yep, everything feels good.
Okay, Schuler's right up on you, so keep pushing it.
Yeah, I'm taking it easy on my belt.
Bad work.
Brandon Schuler, who now sat in 3rd place, continued to apply pressure to Mitch Guthrie Jr. as they battled their way out into the desert on lap 5.
Medium left, long. They're getting a little closer.
It's alright. We're gonna have to just long range.
The 6-time UTV champ slowly reeled Guthrie in as they battled their way out into the desert on lap 5. Mitch Guthrie Sr. came on the radio and advised the team to let Schuler make the pass, knowing their smaller 2-seat Jagged X RZR would need to stop for fuel soon.
Where's Jagged X you said before you talked?
If you gotta let Brandon get by, go for it, because I know they're gonna have to don't hurt the belt.
Copy that. Jagged X is getting right up on us, so yeah, let him ride, go to the right.
Not yet.
They're right behind us.
I know, really, his God. I'm looking in the mirror.
Hard left.
Schuler passed Guthrie, but it was short-lived.
Oh, we overheat again? Nope. Hit the rev limiter. Belt must be slipping a little bit.
Less than a mile later, Guthrie passed Schuler, approaching race mile 5, and retook second place overall. To make matters worse for Schuler, the belt on his RZR was overworked and began to slip. He started to dial his pace back in hopes of making it to the pit for a fast belt change. Up ahead, Justin Lambert in the number 1918 Cognito Motorsports RZR was maintaining his lead. But Mitch Guthrie Jr., who now sat in second place, was matching Justin's pace turn for turn.
There's the leader right there.
Yeah.
I like that.
Back in the chase pack, Scott Yancey continued to push hard, followed by Kristen Matlock, who was still looking strong on lap 5. Ryan Laidlaw came floating through the proving grounds. His longer 4-seat RZR and powerful turbo motor helped him stay at the perfect speed. Meanwhile, second-place Mitch Guthrie Jr. radioed to his pit as they approached the end of lap 5.
Looking good, guys. How's the car feel, Curtis?
Everything's good. Just keeping an eye on the belt, trying to be easy on her. Everything's good, though.
They had made up valuable time and had a visual on first-place Cognito Motorsports. Both race leader Justin Lambert and second-place Mitch Guthrie chose not to pit and continued on towards their 6th lap. Meanwhile, Schuler was forced to pit to replace his damaged belt, and he gave up several positions.
All right, Jagged pulled in for gas, and then the next one's a Can-Am behind you guys a little ways back.
As Guthrie drove towards the infield and the start of lap 6, he drove through one of the roughest parts of the course, an area that would later haunt him.
Feels like everything's going wrong with the car right here.
It's lap 6 of the Walker Evans Desert Championship, and the seasoned Desert UTV racing veteran Justin Lambert remains out front. The young, up-and-coming prodigy Mitch Guthrie Jr. has moved into second place and is literally right on the bumper of Lambert. Murray Racing has moved into third on course, and the tenacious Mark Burnett is holding down fourth place. Nearly a third of the 87 racers who started the race have succumbed to mechanical issues. The brutal Laughlin race course and the feverish pace of the lead pack had already taken its toll. The race leaders passed 2015 Baja 1000 winner Wayne Matlock, who had suffered a fatal mechanical issue on lap 5 in his number 971 XP Turbo. The veteran racer was now out of contention. Mitch Guthrie Jr. started lap 6 in hot pursuit of the number 1918 Polaris RZR of Justin Lambert. They both hit the desert at full speed, dodging the slower cars as they continued to push the pedal to the metal and take the overall lead.
Get right, go inside. There you go, there you go.
Meanwhile, the chase pack emerged from the infield and was made up of Ryan Laidlaw, Kristen Matlock, and Jacob Carver. But they were 5 minutes behind Lambert and Guthrie, who were beginning to check out.
Where's he going? Where's he going? Where's he going?
Up ahead, Guthrie and Lambert battled it out, neck and neck, at the long straightaway near race mile 4. Guthrie's Polaris RZR XP Turbo proved to be the faster car as he pulled away from Justin Lambert's naturally aspirated XP 1000 before hitting the Laughlin road crossing. Mark Burnett, Brandon Schuler, Brandon Sims, and Johnny Engel were all still sitting in the top 10, though they were down several minutes behind the lead pack. They knew that the race could change at a moment's notice. Mitch Guthrie Jr. hit his groove and continued to pass lap traffic. He was trying to put as much distance between himself and Lambert, heading into the final miles of lap 6. As Guthrie came into radio contact with the hot pit, he received news on their position relative to Lambert, who still sat in second place.
Looks like you're about 10 seconds ahead of Cognito then.
With a mere 10-second lead, there was no time for a single mistake. Back in the 1000 class chase pack, the number 1965 XP Warrior car was running strong. The team featured wounded American combat veterans as drivers and co-drivers, and was part of a recreational therapy effort the team had spearheaded. Cody Nygren, meanwhile, was running a strong race and remained in the top 10 in his class. Kristen Matlock was also running strong in her Terabit Racing Polaris RZR. Johnny Angle was driving hard again after a rollover on lap 2. Number 1985, Adrian Oriana, was also running in the top 10. And 1975, Michael Caffro out of Fallbrook, California, continued to press hard. 1999 Chad Ragland came through next. Chad and his father Larry are no strangers to off-road racing, but only recently moved into the sport of UTV racing. The father and son team of Chad and Larry Ragland have a deep love of off-road racing. Larry has been racing for over 50 years and is one of the oldest active off-road racers, with more career wins than any other racer in the sport's history. Chad has followed in his father's footsteps and has raced professionally for over a decade. When the sport of desert UTV racing began to take off, the two built a new business called CageWorks, a design and manufacturing group that specializes in making custom UTV parts and accessories and race-ready vehicles.
I got into UTV racing really by an invitation from Mad Media and UTVUnderground.com. I was approached to come to an event for the unveiling of the XP1000. It was in Oregon, and the public hadn't even seen the vehicle, so I was asked to kind of come participate and help in the promotion of that, and that was really my first experience in a UTV ever. I've been real fortunate that I've been able to drive trophy trucks and race some of the best equipment on the planet, but it's never been, under my control where I was the one that could afford to pay the bills and to race that stuff. But now the UTV racing's really presented me with a whole new opportunity to have a much more affordable, form of racing. Yeah, we would all love to drive trophy trucks. I'd still love to be driving trophy trucks. I hope I still can. But at the end of the day, do we do it for show? Or do we do it because we love to race? If your answer is you love to race, UTV makes tons of sense because they're fun, they're competitive. You still get to go through the same race courses. So we have a great group of guys that have helped us get this vehicle ready for the UTV World Championships and really for the entire Best in the Desert series, being number one led by my dad, who it's great to, that's really why I'm doing this. I mean, it's nice to still get out in the desert and race, but to be able to do it with my dad is just the icing on the cake.
UTV has provided a whole different way of racing, but it's a lot more fun and not quite as serious as what I've been accustomed to. I can enjoy the racing more and without the pressure. My son Chad got into it and said, "Dad, you got to come out and go with me on a trip in the UTV." So I did and fell in love with it. Within a few weeks, I had my own new RZR. We're probably not competitive yet because we have a lot to learn and we're getting into the racing part of it a little bit late compared to the people that we're racing against. So our learning curve has been, has got to ramp up a little bit so we can get up to speed, which we will. For some people, it's going to be their first time. Their heart's going to be beating when they're on that start line.
To be able to still do this, my dad's older and he wants to win just as bad as he did when he was younger. So it's great. I still get to go out there, talk about the race course. We're involved in the same team, the prep of the vehicle, and we get to race, and it's just great. I mean, I love it. Would not trade it for the world. I think that any son, you always have that desire, to live up to your dad's expectations and to show him that, your appreciation for him. And for me, certainly that's been true, watching my father have such success in off-road racing. The first time that I heard about the UTV World Championships was from UTVUnderground.com, and it was really just a concept when I heard of it. Hey, this class is growing, the UTVs are becoming, more and more popular. Why don't we have our own race focused on just that vehicle, just that class, that we can go out there and put on a great show over, a great weekend here in Laughlin, Nevada, and that's exactly what they've done. So, 2 years now for this event, and it's just growing. I can't even imagine what it'll be like in a decade. So we chose the Polaris platform because we really think it's the most competitive, UTV out there right now.
We have the most experience with it, seems to be the most reliable, and for my company, we provide a lot of parts that fit that model. So for us, it was really a no-brainer. So I'll be racing a Polaris RZR XP1000 in the pro production class, which means normally aspirated. You are allowed to make some pretty significant changes and additions to the vehicle. Most everything we've done with off-the-shelf parts. That was kind of our goal. Use a lot of Cageworks parts, a company that I own, and then various aftermarket parts on the vehicle that we've obtained from sponsors. So, you know, it's obviously not a stock vehicle, but again, most of the parts we got are just off-the-shelf parts to prove that you can go and be competitive with a vehicle like that.
It's lap 7 of 10 at the Walker Evans Desert Race during the second annual World Championship. And the talented young racer Mitch Guthrie Jr. has built a 15-second lead over the veteran Justin Lambert.
Mitchie, if you copy, try to keep ahead of Cognito this lap if you can.
Behind them, a seasoned field of desert UTV racers are giving chase. But nearly half of the 87 UTV warriors have fallen by the wayside as the treacherous Nevada desert has taken its toll. Dustin Jones and his team at S3 Power Sports led the race early on, but they've had multiple mechanical issues. After breaking a rear axle and pitting for repairs, they remained in the top 10 and battled their way back towards the front.
Guthrie is first overall now, Cognito second, Sappington still in the pit. I think that puts you third overall.
Mark Burnett, meanwhile, continued to push his number 905 Polaris RZR hard and sat firmly in the top 5 at the beginning of lap 7. A few minutes behind Mark, the Murray brothers continued to battle in their Can-Am Maverick. Johnny Angle, meanwhile, was not giving up. He'd had a tough setback on lap 2, but was hanging it all out in hopes of still finishing strong. Brandon Sims was also still very much in the hunt after having to pit early with some mechanical gremlins. Brandon was defending his 2015 championship title and wasn't about to let go of it easily. Up front at the Super ATV Proving Grounds, leader Mitch Guthrie Jr. came skipping through the torn-up sections at high speed. Second place Justin Lambert flew through a mere 9 seconds behind him. The leaders were noticeably faster and more aggressive than the battle-worn chaseback. Reese Millen, who is known for his driving prowess in drifting and rally racing, continued to gain ground. This was his first UTV event. Reese started off the line in third row, but had passed dozens of cars and moved within striking distance of the top 10 in his class. Meanwhile, the race leaders came flying by race mile 10. Mitch Guthrie Jr. remained out front with Justin Lambert close behind in second. Remarkably, Dustin Jones held down third place, still.
Yeah, go. Okay, go.
While Ryan Laidlaw and the number 960 Polaris RZR had moved into fourth on the road, Mark Burnett sat in fifth and showed no signs of slowing. Up front, Mitch Guthrie's crew called for him to pit, and the team prepared to give him gas as quickly as possible.
Right left.
Mitchie, let's pit. We're going to pit you this time for gas. Make sure you're 25 miles an hour down the thing, and we're going to do a fast pit.
Copy that.
A moment later, Mitch Guthrie came screaming into the final turn before the hot pit. He passed an impressive 3 cars and drove into a treacherous corner on the back side of the pit entrance. While Guthrie sat in the pit, Justin Lambert took a huge gamble and passed him without stopping for fuel.
Get ready. Watch out. Good. Watch out. Go.
Lambert took the lead as Guthrie rocketed out of his pit. He remained within a minute of Lambert.
Has Tornado pitted yet?
Right in front of you guys. We're not sure if he's going to or not, but you got 2 laps to push if you want.
New race leader Justin Lambert dropped the pedal to the floor on lap 8, knowing he needed time to pit for fuel on his next lap. Guthrie remained close as he sped through the infield. Meanwhile, back in 3rd place, Dustin Jones was still experiencing mechanical gremlins.
We got a broke front right we're not going to worry about. Okay.
He had broken yet another axle back near race mile 3, but chose not to pit and continued out on lap 8.
How much has Guthrie got on us?
5 minutes and 36 seconds behind Guthrie.
10-4.
Mark Burnett moved into 4th overall at the start of lap 8. Laidlaw, Millen, Matlock, and Engel made up the chase bag. And all came floating through the Razor archway.
Okay.
Lambert flew past race mile 6 like a bat out of hell. Guthrie remained close on Lambert's tail. Cody Nygren came through race mile 6 physically in 15th and 6th in class. 10 minutes later, Reese Millen came charging through the Super ATV proving grounds. Jeff Obering was having a solid day. He was running strong and slowly climbing up the ranks. Meanwhile, back up in 2nd place, Mitch Guthrie was racing to catch Lambert, hoping to pass him in the pit. Up ahead, race leader Justin Lambert was preparing to pit at the end of lap 8.
They are going to fuel. They are going to fuel. So push it, Mitchie. They're going to fuel.
Copy.
Mitch Guthrie Jr. was mere seconds behind him as they both came through. Justin had no choice but to pull over and take on enough fuel to finish the race. '15 UTV World Champion Brandon Sims was still in the hunt after losing time early in the race, but was making up time fast. It's the end of lap 8. Mitch Guthrie Jr., who led the race for several laps but relinquished the lead on lap 7, continued to push the pedal to the metal. As the leaders charged through the infield, the order remained Guthrie, Lambert, Dustin Jones, and Mark Burnett, with Ryan Laidlaw and Kristen Matlock still in the hunt. Jones, who led the race for several laps early on, was pushing hard and driving on 3 of 4 axles. He continued to hang it all out as he passed slower lap traffic. Number 1954, Kristen Matlock out of Alpine, California, continued her driving clinic and moved even further up the pack on the last 2 laps of the race. 960 Ryan Laidlaw remained within striking distance of the overall lead in the turbo class. He had run a near flawless race all day. At race mile 12, Baja 1000 champion Johnny Engel was still battling to recover from an earlier rollover. He was stuck behind in slower lap traffic. Meanwhile, Mitch Guthrie Jr. continued driving at a blistering pace out front, with Justin Lambert right on his bumper, heading into the end of lap 9. Minutes later, as Guthrie passed the hot pit and began his 10th and final lap, disaster struck. While driving through a rough section of the course, he broke a rear axle and was forced to pull over and replace it, relinquishing his lead and giving up 7 positions on course. Justin Lambert, who had already built a 10-minute lead over the next vehicle on course, began a slower and methodical race to the finish line. with an almost insurmountable lead. All he had to do was keep the car together, and he was assured of victory. Jones, who had battled mechanical gremlins all day long, drove like a man possessed on his final lap. He remained in second place for the entire lap, until incredibly, he suffered yet another catastrophic failure with his axles, several yards from the hot pit.
Around that medium left. What was that, belt? I don't know. Won't go? Yeah, belt's broke. Okay, just gotta find the spot. We'll change it.
Ryan Laidlaw, Kristen Matlock, and Mark Burnett passed Jones. But remarkably, he was able to repair his vehicle and make his way towards the finish. After 3 hours and 5 minutes of brutal desert racing and multiple lead changes, Justin Lambert in the number 1918 Cognito Motorsports Polaris RZR took the checkered flag and won both the overall and Production 1000 race.
Pretty relentless course. You know, we were every time we would come into the infield, it's just pucker and just all the chatter bumps, and man, it just wanted to shake your guts out. And so it was a little painful towards the end there, but we saved it. We made it. I don't know. I'm not sure I woke up yet this morning. Feels great. I hope I don't wake up. I hope this is the real deal. This was the plan, the goal. Our plan came together. It executed. We saved it. It all worked out. Number one. Feels awesome.
11 minutes behind Lambert was Ryan Laidlaw, who took second overall and first in the production turbo class.
Amazing feeling to, you know, roll it out, debut and do this well with it. So we're just super happy and just so grateful for all this, you know, the sacrifice and effort that went into this thing, and kind of our vision and the passion that got us here.
Kristen Matlock, Mark Burnett, Dustin Jones, Brandon Sims, Michael Caffro, Mitch Guthrie Jr., Jason Murray, and Johnny Engel rounded out the top 10 finishers, each having battled the treacherous course, multiple mechanical challenges, and each other for over 150 miles. Here's a look at all of the 2016 Walker Evans Championship race winners. UTV racing has spread to every corner of the globe and across every age group. Leading the next generation of off-road racers is 13-year-old Seth Quintero from San Diego, California. Seth has been dominating the Works and Dirt Racing series in his custom-built Magnum off-road Polaris RZR for 3 years now, and is one of the youngest athletes to ever be signed by Red Bull.
The 2015 UTV World Championship was a great victory because it kind of pushed me out there more, and I got my name out there. And it was a great track, great battle. I came out the whole shot and never looked back. The nerves were high, I'll tell you that. I just came in knowing that if I get up there, then I can do it. I wasn't expecting anything. I was just going out there to have some fun. My program is like mainly family driven. The way we get ready for race day is we all talk to each other, just make sure that we're all in check with each other. Like no matter what happens, we're still family. So my mom and my dad have helped me a lot getting into this community. Like, I would not be here without them. Like, they've backed me 100% the whole way. Spend all the time with my dad. I mean, I love my dad. We've ridden dirt bikes together all our lives, and every time we go out to the desert, anywhere we go, we're like, let's go do this, let's do that. So we kind of push each other back and forth, and we pick on each other sometimes, but we love each other. My mom is the biggest support, and she is the best track mom I could ever ask for. Like, she'll be on the line the whole time, like, you need to do this, you need to do that, and just she'll steal the radio from my dad and just start pushing me even harder. Yeah, I have a great mom.
I used to race desert bikes back in 2005 through 2009. Did a lot of District 38 racing on my desert bike. I kind of introduced him to desert racing while I was desert racing. I had a bad spill in 2009. I think that kind of sealed the deal for no desert racing on two wheels for him. Ultimately, that was a goal. So Mama kind of called it after that, and we had to change of path on what he was going to race. And my wife took him into the motorcycle shop. She saw this cool little Polaris RZR with a cage wrapped around it, so and a little seat in there and a steering wheel, and she called me instantly. That was it. She knew. She said, no dirt bike, he's in a cage.
Since Seth has won the UTV World Championship race, a lot has changed actually. I've heard multiple stories about what a great kid he is on and off the track, and winning Worlds definitely changed everything for him. You know, it gave him an opportunity to get the exposure and go to the Met 400. Joey D had invited him out, and that's where he got to meet some pretty awesome people, and he also got to meet Red Bull. You know, he could be sitting in his bedroom playing video games, but we're out traveling, you know, the United States, and we're getting ready to leave the country to go race, and it's brought us so much closer together.
The hardest thing about racing in the UTV World Championship is just like knowing that it's the biggest race of the year, and if you break, then you just miss the biggest race of the year. Coming into this year, I definitely felt like there was a target on my back from winning the 170 class last year. My favorite part of racing is definitely the community of racing. Like, I've met so many great people that, like, no matter what, even on and off the track, they'll always be there.
For this young off-roader, the future is looking exceptionally bright. The Youth Production race was a crowd favorite at the inaugural UTV World Championship in 2015. And this year, it was expanded into two classes. The Unlimited 250 class, which allowed modifications to the chassis and motor up to 250 cc, and the Production 170 class that kept the engines stock.
I'm getting ready for the UTV World Championship Youth 250 class.
The race was held on a modified version of the infield and set for 30 minutes. The 24 junior racers lined up on the start, and with the drop of the green flag, were off racing. As the 5 Production 250 cars rocketed into turn 1, Dallas Gonzalez took the whole shot, just ahead of Jacob Peter and Casey Sims. The second row of racers took off seconds later and came speeding into the gauntlet. Julian Juju Bomer came through first, with Chance Gibson, Luke Knupp, and Ryder Chapman right behind him. Dallas Gonzalez and Jacob Peter continued to battle up front for the first few laps, eventually hitting lap traffic. Chance Gibson out of Yorba Linda, California looked strong early on. He sat in 8th by about the 10-minute mark. Talon Frazier came through in 10th place overall. Dylan Greiser and Caden Danbury led a big chase back through turn 12. And moments later, Michaela Day suffered the first mechanical of the race. Jacob Peter and Casey Sims continued to battle it out. Meanwhile, Juju Bomer was right on their tail in 3rd place. Some of these kids could barely see over the steering wheel, but they gave it everything they had. Most importantly, you could see the smiles on all of their faces while they were racing side by side. 5 laps in, Ryder Van Beekum and Dallas Gonzalez succumbed to mechanical issues and were forced to retire. Meanwhile, Clayton Mickles and Chance Gibson battled in 7th and 8th place. Enzo and Christian DiGiovanni came through on the gas. This was Enzo's first race in a UTV, and he looked right at home on the championship race course. Frazier and Danbury came through next in 9th and 10th overall, as the minutes began to tick down to the finish. Bullock and Berry came flying through the Polaris Arch, they were battling for second and third place in the 250 class. As the junior racers came across the finish line, covered in mud and grinning from ear to ear, it was Casey Sims from Vista, California, who took first overall and first in the production 250 class.
No, I got second last year, and now I got first this year, so it feels really good.
Julian Juju Bomer from Lake Havasu City, Arizona finished second overall and first in the production 170 class.
This was my first race, like riding on dirt. Everything was good, the car ran good.
Here's a look at all of the Youth Production race winners. The Anderson family has been involved in off-road racing for over 50 years. And Randy Anderson has been at the helm of Walker Evans Racing longer than his two sons have been alive. But for RJ and his younger brother Ronnie, they couldn't be more excited to earn a living doing what they love. And what they love is banging doors and slinging dirt in both desert and short course UTV racing.
Being back at the second annual UTV World Championship, I mean, the very first year was huge. And I mean, when an event has its first year, it's always kind of just a trial, and it blew up, you know. So to be back, this is by far, no doubt about it, the biggest UTV race of the year. And people are coming from now all across the United States, you know. I think they kind of let the first year sink in, and now we got year two, and it's just exploding. I mean, over 200 UTV entries, that's insane. The best of the best are all here. The competition's thick at this year's World Championship, and it's kind of a different aspect compared to last year because we got the introduction of the turbos. So last year the short course race was just one big class, but this year we're running the turbos and the production 1000s, which is like the XP1000 non-turbo platform. So this is our first time we're really racing head to head against each other in any type of race. So it's kind of unknown whether the built up XP1000s are gonna be faster or the stock platform turbos. So I'm racing in the turbo class. It's got a smaller field than the XP1000 class. I think total we're around 70 UTVs. So I'm starting on the second row, not super deep, but I'm instantly in the dust. I mean, just one row of cars, so there's quite a bit of dust out here in Laughlin. It's pretty thick. It was last year, and I don't expect it to be any different. So a good start's gonna be key, and then those first few laps, I mean, just keep your head on in the dust before you actually push it. I blew it last year, so it's learning from my mistakes on that this time.
Yeah, I'm racing RJ's car from last year, and RJ started second row and was doing good and totally drove it into a ditch last year. So let's hope I could better the car's luck, or hopefully the car could better my luck, because I had an unfortunate DNF last year too, and let's hope we can mix together and get a good finish. Yeah, I'm for sure a lot more calm than last year, because last year I had like the first year jitters and I was nervous. I was like first row and just totally threw it away. And this year I'm a lot more confident, having a back row start, which is always a little more comfortable, and just looking forward to a great race.
The short course race here at the World Championships is kind of actually a long race compared to what we're used to. Normally only doing about 30-mile races on average from what we're used to, so we're chancing a full tank of gas. I mean, we're gonna have to fill it up to the brink. You gotta be right there because it's gonna be finishing on fumes. Right now, Polaris RZR is a driving force behind all of off-road racing, not only this UTV World Championship, but all of off-road racing in general. They're giving back to the sport, and when you have a brand like this doing what they have for the sport, I don't know how you couldn't be. I mean, what they've given back to us racers and the whole industry and how they've helped grow it is incredible, and hats off to the Polaris RZR team for making this possible.
The world's top desert UTV racers have finished their 150-mile battle for bragging rights, world-class trophies, and thousands of dollars in cash and prizes. And the next generation of young UTV racers just proved that the future of the sport is looking bright. It was time now for the Holes Racing Products Production Short Course Championship race. At 3:30 p.m., race director Casey Folks sounded the alarm, and moments later, dropped the green flag for the start of the second annual Holes Racing Products Production Championship. The stacked field of short course racers in row 1 once again executed a dead-engine land rush start and flew off the start line towards the turn 1 gauntlet. Mitch Guthrie Jr., who only hours earlier had lost the Walker Evans Desert Championship on the final lap of the race, rocketed into turn 1 and took the hole shot in his number 4503 Polaris RZR. Robert Van Beekum and Bo Barron battled immediately for second and third place as the lead pack tore through turn 1 and 2 and began to head out into the open desert. 30 seconds later, row 2 took off in a hail of mud and dust, and it was R.J. Anderson who emerged out front heading into turn 1, just ahead of Corbin Leverton and S3 Power Sports' Dustin Jones. Row after row, the short course pack blasted off the start line, 15 cars wide at full speed. In row 5, Josh Frederick got tangled up on the inside and went tumbling down the course. Luckily, he landed right side up, but after making contact with another racer, his day was finished before it started. A tough break for the UTV veteran. Six-time UTV champion Brandon Schuler was running strong in the lead pack, but suddenly suffered a catastrophic failure. He lost his coolant line and all of his engine coolant in a matter of seconds and was forced to end his race early. Up front, Robert Van Beekum was charging hard behind race leader Mitch Guthrie and went too fast into a corner at race mile 2, nearly losing control of his car. A few minutes later, he pulled off the course and tried desperately to diagnose a mechanical issue with his vehicle. At the front of the field, Mitch Guthrie Jr. had already built a commanding lead and was several minutes ahead of the chase pack. He was driving a custom-built Polaris RZR that he and his dad designed and built to compete in UTV rock crawling events, and it made quick work of the Super ATV proving grounds. Second place Bo Barron came through next, but not quite as fast, followed by Cody Bradbury in the 4522 Polaris RZR. Ryan Piplick came through next. Ryan is a seasoned racer and at one point held the world record for the longest distance jump in a UTV. Brandon Sims, who chose to run his heavier desert car for the short course race, came flying through after Piplick. He had moved into 5th place on the road. Back in the chase pack, R.J. Anderson set a blistering pace through the desert and started catching up to the slower vehicles who went off ahead of him. Bo Barron was running strong in 2nd place behind Guthrie until disaster struck, and he was forced to pull over with a broken belt and further mechanical issues. The pack of 100 short course racers continued to battle their way through the rough Laughlin racecourse, each vying for precious seconds and any advantage possible. Minutes later, race leader Mitch Guthrie Jr. tore past the hot pit with a comfortable cushion. Behind him, 2015 UTV World Champion Brandon Sims had made up valuable time and caught and passed Cody Bradbury and Ryan Piplick. He was now sitting in 2nd place. Bradbury was experiencing mechanical issues and was forced to make an unscheduled pit at the end of lap 1. Not what he wanted this early in the race. Ryan Piplick, driving the number 4515 Polaris RZR XP Turbo, drove past Bradbury as he sat helplessly. Piplick remained hot on Brandon Sims' tail as they sped through the rough corners heading out on their 2nd lap. After battling his way through the dust, R.J. Anderson had moved into 3rd place behind Sims on corrected time, though he was still physically further back in the pack. As lap 1 wound down, nearly 20 competitors had suffered mechanical issues and fallen out of the race. The treacherous and unforgiving Laughlin Desert was pulling no punches. It was R.J. Anderson who finished lap 1 in the top 5, grinding it out with the chase pack on their way to the infield section for lap 2 of 4. Meanwhile, up front, Mitch Guthrie Jr. worked his way into the infield and maintained his overall lead. Back in 2nd and 3rd position, 2015 UTV World Champion Brandon Sims and number 4515 Ryan Piplick battled each other while trying to make up ground on Guthrie. The race course was now extremely rough, as it had been driven on by over 200 vehicles for multiple laps. 144 Mickey Thomas, who started on the third row and passed more than 20 vehicles so far, began to turn up the heat and climb the leaderboard into the top 5. S3 Power Sports racer Dustin Jones and R.J. Anderson remained neck and neck and passed Mark Burnett on the inside of a turn while heading out into the desert. As the sun began to set, the dust and lack of visibility became a huge factor in the race. Drivers were slicing between dark, shadowy turns and blinding sunlight. The pack of short course racers came tearing through the Super ATV proving grounds next. With the lighter and shorter cars and an absolutely perilous race course beneath them, they were much more prone to being thrown around than the longer, heavier desert cars from the morning race. The order remained Mitch Guthrie Jr. in first place and Brandon Sims in second. The two were separated by a mere 50 seconds. 90 seconds behind Sims was Ryan Piplick. Matt Hancock out of Tempe, Arizona held down fourth, followed by Dustin Jones and his Can-Am Maverick. R.J. Anderson came roaring through next. He was making up time fast. Jeremy Merrill and the number 4525 Wolfpack RZR battled alongside Cody Bradbury. Behind them, Cody Raiders just missed a pass on Ryan Holes by mere inches. At race mile 11, Mitch Guthrie Jr. came flying through right on the edge. He had maintained his lead over Brandon Sims, who was patiently matching Guthrie's speed. Ryan Piplick held down third place still, waiting for either of the leaders to make a mistake. Minutes later, Guthrie passed the hot pit at the end of lap 2 and did not stop for fuel. Brandon Sims came through next and also opted not to pit. R.J. Anderson came through and looked strong. He was looking to shake off his bad luck from last year. Just behind R.J., Mickey Thomas remained up front in the chase pack. He was running top 5. Cody Raiders looked fast as well and was right up in the mix. Mike Gardner, who started in the third row, had climbed his way past a dozen cars and was up near the front of the pack. Off-road legend Marty Hart, who has nearly 30 years of off-road racing experience and numerous championships in short course racing, came flying through the infield at the end of lap 2. As the pack of battered racers finished their second lap and dove into lap 3, an incredible 32 vehicles had fallen by the wayside. The war of attrition had begun. It's lap 3 of the 4-lap Holes Racing Production Championship race. Of the 103 racers that left the start line, only 72 remain. The course, which has been raced on all day by more than 200 of the world's best UTV drivers in the world, is now a wasteland of sharp rocks, deep ruts, unforgiving sand, and punishing terrain. There are broken and battered cars scattered everywhere. Mitch Guthrie Jr., who lost the morning desert race on the final lap, took the hole shot from the first row and led the first 2 laps. But 2015 UTV World Champion and seasoned desert racer Brandon Sims was right on Guthrie's tail, a mere 15 seconds off his bumper. Matt Hancock sat in third, having worked his way up from starting in row 3. His performance thus far was nearly flawless. R.J. Anderson, who is best known for his XP1K viral video series and 3 championships in short course racing, was in 4th place, followed by the 2015 Mint 400 champion Dustin Jones of S3 Power Sports. The lead pack was stacked with talent. R.J. and Dustin continued to battle each other through the big whooped-out turns at race mile 3. passing broken down and flipped over vehicles as they pushed towards the open desert. The race leaders came tearing through the proving grounds minutes later. The sun continued to blind the drivers in the dangerous rolling whoop section. Guthrie looked fast and smooth. Matt Hancock was still running strong. Dustin Jones was holding his line. And the prodigy, R.J. Anderson, made it look easy. Mark Burnett, meanwhile, had quietly moved just outside the top 5. Cody Raiders, who started in the 4th row, slammed through the proving grounds next, determined to remain in the podium hunt. R.J. Anderson continued to push through the dust and began to apply pressure to the front of the chase pack. Between race mile 9 and race mile 12, he passed 4 vehicles and was only 2 minutes behind the leaders, heading towards the end of the lap. Meanwhile, back up in the lead, Mitch Guthrie Jr. was showing no signs of slowing down. In fact, he was picking up speed as he pushed towards the end of lap 3, knowing he would need to pit for fuel in order to make it to the finish line. He passed multiple cars and lap traffic as he sped towards the hot pit. Right behind Guthrie sat Brandon Sims, who was racing his desert-style UTV, which had a larger fuel cell. Brandon and his crew calculated that they wouldn't need to stop and pit for fuel, and he passed Guthrie while he waited frantically in his pit. Seconds later, Guthrie launched back on the course, 30 seconds behind the new race leader, Brandon Sims. Guthrie was now in 2nd place. R.J. Anderson, meanwhile, eventually passed Dustin Jones just before the hot pit, but lost the position back to Jones when he stopped for fuel. Burnett and Gardner were able to get by R.J. as well. R.J. tore out of the pit after taking on fuel and began to reel Burnett and Gardner back in. It's the final lap of the Holes Racing Products production short course race. And 42 of the 103 racers who started have fallen out of contention with broken vehicles. The bruised and battered field is being led by 2015 UTV World Champion Brandon Sims, who stole the lead from Mitch Guthrie Jr. while he took on fuel at the end of lap 3 in his pit. Guthrie is now desperately trying to reel Sims back in and make a pass for the lead again. As Sims and Guthrie tore out of the infield and into the open desert, they were both driving at 110%, passing slower lap traffic and looking for any advantage they could find. Brandon had opted to drive his desert UTV for the short course race, which was a huge gamble, as he had already put the car through 10 laps of hell in the morning race. Back in the chase pack, number 108 Mike Gardner was running strong and trying to catch Guthrie, when suddenly his UTV bucked hard, throwing him into a violent roll down the race course. In a stunning display of sportsmanship, Mike's close friend and competitor R.J. Anderson stopped on the course to be sure his friend was okay. R.J. was in contention for a podium spot, possibly the overall win, and he lost valuable time before heading back out into the desert. Up at the front, Mitch Guthrie Jr. and Brandon Sims continued to battle. Sims knew he had pushed his equipment to the absolute limit, and as the two approached race mile 3, his luck ran out. His rear axle exploded, forcing him to pull over and concede first place. Mitch flew by him seconds later and reclaimed the lead in his number 4503 Polaris RZR. Mark Burnett flew out of the infield on his way toward race mile 3 and eventually passed Sims on the side of the course, moving into 2nd place. R.J. Anderson, meanwhile, had already made up the time he lost to check on Mike Gardner. Minutes later, he caught and passed number 144 Mickey Thomas. Seconds later, he passed the still stranded Brandon Sims, who was desperately trying to repair his rear axle. Because RJ started on the first row and Mickey started on the third, RJ would have to finish a full 30 seconds ahead of him in order to beat him on corrected time. Mitch Guthrie Jr. came screaming through the Super ATV proving grounds one last time. He was driving like a kid possessed, determined not to let it slip away again. RJ Anderson pushed harder and wove his way through lap traffic on his way towards the proving grounds. Mark Burnett, who had run a near flawless race all day, came barreling past, right on the edge. RJ was right behind him and began closing the gap as he dodged slower vehicles on the course. Mitch Guthrie Jr. played it fast but smart on the last few miles of his final lap. His Polaris RZR was running smooth as he navigated through the wide open straightaways, down the Powerline Road, and on his way towards the finish line. RJ Anderson dropped the pedal to the floor on the home stretch, and after several minutes of passing slower lap traffic, he caught Mark Burnett on the final turn before the hot pit. The two raced neck and neck for several seconds before RJ was able to pull away and make the pass. After a full day of racing and losing the Walker Evans Desert Championship on the final lap, Guthrie had displayed an incredible amount of stamina and racing prowess. Mitch Guthrie Jr. crossed the finish line first and won the second annual Holes Racing Products Production Short Course Championship. Just behind Mitchie, RJ Anderson finished physically second, and Mark Burnett and Mickey Thomas right on his tail. Several racers who started in the third, fourth, and fifth rows came streaming in towards the finish line. Cody Raiders, Ryan Holes, Cody Bradbury, and Dustin Jones all finished in the top 10. Remarkably, Brandon Sims finished 9th overall and 6th in class after repairing his broken axle on the final lap. But it was Mitch Guthrie Jr. who won the race overall and took first place in production turbo class, just ahead of RJ Anderson and Mark Burnett, who finished second and third.
Yeah, it was a tough day. We had the lead at one point in the desert race, and I thought I could bring that one home, and unfortunately I couldn't. So I definitely was pissed about that. So coming into this, I definitely had a little more drive to get the win out of this, and I'm just so pumped. Thankfully, I was able to get the whole shot. This thing was fast off the start, and from there we were able to get a gap. But then the whole gas thing came into play, so I actually had to gas twice. At the end there, I was flashing, so I decided to pull in and just make sure I wouldn't run out of gas. And it was a long race, and I just tried to make sure the car would make it, and fortunately it did.
Mickey Thomas won the Production 1000 class ahead of Cody Raiders, who took second, and Ryan Holes, who finished third.
I didn't have that great of a start. I think I came out fourth on my row, but I quickly made my way through to second. Me and Mike Gardner battled there for a while, and he had a nasty crash. I hope he's doing okay, but yeah, after that it was just fighting dust and the sun, and it just kept pushing. Yeah, it got really chewed up. We had 240 something or 50 something UTVs out there today, and they chewed it up pretty good. But yeah, well, just happy the car stayed together, to be honest, and be up here on the box. It's awesome.
Here's a look at all of the Holes Racing Products production race winners. The Polaris RZR UTV World Championship held their awards ceremony at Harrah's Laughlin, overlooking the gorgeous Colorado River. Over $100,000 in cash and prizes was handed out to the winners of the different classes that competed at the race. The overall winners of the Walker Evans Desert Championship and the Holes Racing Products Production Championship each received a brand new 2016 Polaris RZR XP Turbo UTV, valued at $25,000 each. And the two winners of the youth production race each received brand new Polaris RZR 170 vehicles. The second annual Polaris RZR UTV World Championship was a massive success. All of the major manufacturers and parts builders were in attendance, and every professional UTV racer in both desert and short course racing came to compete in the event as well. Thousands of off-road racing fans and UTV enthusiasts came to watch the racing, and everyone agreed that once again, this championship event would remain a mainstay of the UTV industry. Congratulations to all the racers and winners of the Walker Evans Desert Championship, Youth Production Championship, and the Holes Racing Products Production Championship. The Polaris RZR UTV World Championship will return to Laughlin, Nevada, Thursday, April 13th through Sunday the 16th in 2017. Don't miss your chance to win thousands of dollars in cash and prizes and compete against the best UTV racers on the planet. Or bring the family and join us for a weekend of riding and racing next to the beautiful Colorado River. For more information, visit UTVUnderground.com and follow us on Facebook for updates.